Okay, so today's video, I'm going to be installing the Iron Rock Offroad 2-inch spacer lift for the JT Jeep Wrangler, or Jeep Gladiator, rather. My wife has, and it's made in the USA. They did an amazing job packaging it. Their instructions are, they're okay. YouTube's semi-helpful. Some of these brackets have to be on specific sides and things like that. So there's some stuff to pay attention to when installing this. I'm a single take kind of guy when it comes to video, so I'm not going to do a step-by-step. There are plenty of them on the internet, but I'm just going to show you some things to watch for and pay attention to. Most of the videos kind of go over that, and I'll just kind of talk about it a little bit. As you can see, the offset of my wife's new 35 stick way out, and it's equal on both sides. Now, something you've probably seen if you're driving down the highway and you've seen a truck that has the rear axle look like it's for some reason off to one side. The reason that is, and it's usually off to the right hand or passenger side, is because you have a full set of steering components and track bars that help the vehicle run down the road straight. This track bar here is attached in the rear on the left-hand side or driver's side of the rear axle, and then it attaches opposite side over here. So as you lower this rear axle downward away from the vehicle, this line doesn't go down parallel, it makes a sweeping motion this way. So as you lower this, the axle wants to go that way. So that's why there are usually track bar relocation brackets for the rear of these types of vehicles, for these types of applications. So that's one of the things to pay attention to. This doesn't lift it that much, but there are a couple of other things to note. These are your control arms. This is your lower control arm, and this is your upper control arm. And the bolts that hold them compress these rubber bushings that are on the inside. And when you lower the vehicle or go over a bump, that bushing doesn't actually move. It bends like a rubber ball that's being torqued. And what's happening here is you, when you're going to lower the vehicle, are changing the joust of the vehicle or the ability for it to sit with these at rest. So when you do this installation, you do have to undo all of the control arms. There are 2 in the rear, 2 in the front, on each side of the vehicle, so 4 in total, upper and lowers. And then once it's down on the ground, sitting on its ride height, these have to be retorqued to factory spec. And the reason for that is the weight of the vehicle and the ability for the vehicle to press down on these bushings needs to be at static load and no bend on this rubber bushing when you're at normal ride height, so that you can achieve a smooth ride without bounciness or wobbling of the vehicle. The other end of that gets a little bit tricky as well is on the front end of the vehicle, you have to do your drag link has to be also updated. So this guy up in the front, oh wow, this is really tucked in there. But this guy right here, which attaches to your pitman arm, will also experience the same drop in deflection. So as the axle lowers away from the vehicle, the angle that it makes will be extended to be at the same point of rest. So these, you have to loosen these bolts and then unscrew this collar and let it slide back a little bit and give it some more length in order to allow the vehicle to sit and steer properly. Otherwise, it'll think that the vehicle's tracking it correctly down the road, and you'll set the EPS on the, or the traction control lights will come on your dashboard, basically. So those steps, not only your joust from your control arms, upper and lower, but also your track bar and your tie rod, all do need adjustment for this installation. I would definitely say, if you're not familiar with all these components, read up about this stuff and familiarize yourself. Otherwise, this could be a little bit tricky. But as it sits, these 35s had about 30,000 miles on them. And